Hey everyone, Jessica here. And so in this series of videos, I'm going to give you some ideas that can serve as a jumping off point for you guys to create some cool designs with your 24 karat gold collection. And also just use some different techniques that we picked up along the way. So to start off with, we're going to make a digital background. You could use this, do something like this for a card design or digital paper or like a social media background like I'm making here. So we're going to make something like this, and we're going to start off with this image that I found on Unsplash. And it's quite cool. It's an overhead shot of the sea, and I just think that the colors look really cool and really interesting. And to start off with, I've resized this down a little bit, and I just want to remove this little surfer guy here. Excuse me. So I'm going to go over here on my left hand side and get my spot healing brush tool. And I won't worry about it being perfect because it's just going to serve as the base for our color design. So if I go up here to my top left, I can put the hardness down, which is fine, 34%. And I'm just going to go like this and, oops, let's undo that. That's not so good. I'll create a new layer just in case, and let's see if we can do this here. So I'm just going to kind of paint over that area that I don't like. Let's see how Photoshop will fix it. That's pretty much good enough. I'll create another layer. Maybe I'll try to tap some of these lines, but honestly, good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect in this case. So I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to hit Command Option Shift and E to merge all those to a new layer, or you could simply flatten your image. And then I'm just going to cut that image out of here, and I will paste it on my new document. In this case, I'm making a little digital background, so I'm going to just, this could be like a background for a quote graphic or something. So I'm going to make it 1500 by 1500, which is a common size that I use. And then I'm going to paste that on there and play around with the placement of it until it's kind of like until I get it kind of how I'm happy. And in this case, I like how this color is like on this side. So I'm going to leave it like this. This is going to serve as a good base. And actually, I'm just going to duplicate this layer, and I'll save that up there for later. We might do a little something interesting with that. So now I have it in a good place. Now in this case, we're going to actually use my instapressionist brushes. And that's because I want all these colors, but I kind of like how they're laid out here. And so I kind of want to keep this general layout of the colors here. And so I am going to create a pattern from this image. So I'm going to go to, well, I have Command M, and I'll click OK. Otherwise, you go to Edit, Define Pattern. And so that's, if you've worked with my Instapressionist brushes, you understand this workflow. I'll have the link below for my Instapressionist brushes, just in case you didn't. But I defined the whole image as my pattern. Now I'll create a new layer above this. I'm going to go over here to my Pattern Stamp tool, make sure that Aligned and Impressionist is checked, and then I'm going to go to that last pattern that I made, and it's important that you know it's I pick the one that I just made because it's the exact size I want. And then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to find my Instapressionist brushes, and I'm going to go straight down to the artistic section. And what I'm going to do is I'll just start with brush number 61. I'm just going to go, and I've got Aligned selected. So I'm going to kind of go, I'm going to increase my brush size here and kind of go like this, just brush it across and make this little base to kind of blur out the main one, the actual image. And I am just going to go through and make a series of brush strokes. And sometimes if things are looking too like sharp, you can always take the flow down. And in this case, I'm going to have to make my brushes a bit bigger. So I'm going to go through like this and just keep painting over until I have something that I'm loving and softening this. But what I like is that the colors is, you know, you can kind of still see the image a little bit underneath there, not literally, but we have those kind of cool colors on this side and then that big chunk of teal. So I love that. And so I will just continue to grab brushes. And this is kind of big, so I'm going to increase the size. This is a cool watercolory one. And I'm just going to continue to play until I get something that I like. You know, and just, and it's all very abstract. So let's go, scroll down here. I think this number 69 brush. And if you notice, I keep making new layers because I like to do that rather than work on all on one layer. I like to just make things on their own layers because that way I can just, oh, if I didn't like something in the end, I can turn off the layer, or you know, they're all not tied together. So it's more non-destructive. So this is not exactly the same, you see, but I've created this cool like abstract sort of look. And actually, I think I'll go back to brush number 64. I've got my flow way down. Now remember, one thing that's good to know about the flow is if you turn it down once, it's going to stay down until you turn it back up. So just keep that in mind. Actually, I'll grab brush 62. I like this brush because it has these really cool, you get these really cool brush strokes in here. I'm going to keep making it bigger. I like that. And if it's a little dramatic, I might take the opacity down. But more or less, this is cool. I'm happy with this. Good enough. And you can always just play around with it. But the cool thing is you can make it your own. And now one thing that I'm going to do is I'll turn off my aligned. And I'm going to go and some of you guys might be familiar with this, but I'm going to find my citrus collection that I recently put out. Okay, product specific, here we go. I have a citrus collection, citrus creative kit, and I have got some really cool textures in this collection. Here we go. We've got the texture brushes, and I'll grab one of those, and I turned off aligned, and so I'm going to just see how some of these work. This is a cool one. I think 12 is good. I'm going to turn this up. I think I might turn the flow down. And I'm going to make some cool, like, textured strokes. And this is good because it's not aligned anymore, so you're getting, like, different colors a little bit. And you can see that cool texture. So this was Citrus Subtle Texture number 12. And I like that, and that just gives it a very artistic look. So I'm going to just turn this opacity down a little bit. And we've got the base. So you know what? That is good enough. Looks cool. Looks close to that. So now we want to add the gold on top. So I like to just add a little bit to the corners, and we'll call it a day. And the thing about the gold and stuff is that for it to really kind of have that sparkly effect, you kind of want to use it like a little bit like a condiment sometimes. And you know, if everything is gold, it's not going to look so sparkly. But you know, you add little touches, and then it's going to look really cool. So I'm going to go over here to the left to my mixer brush, and I will go to this, what brush did I grab? Yeah, Gold 19, which is one of my favorite brushes. And I'm just going to make some strokes like you see here. So let's see how this works. And I might have even taken the flow down, I'm not sure. Maybe not so much. But yeah, I kind of did it light and and I held down my shift key to actually get a really clean stroke on this one. So let's see how these looked. I'm kind of thinking I need to take my flow down. Yeah, there we go. If I took my flow down to 30%, then you kind of have those more tapering edges, and I think that looks like really cool in this case. So these ones are the more subtle strokes, but I'm going to add those there. That looks cool. And then I'll add a new layer. And let's see here. Where did my goldie go? There we go. And then I'm going to add some, I think I used brush number 8. Hold on. Yeah. So I'll add a new layer. So I want to work non-destructively. And let's pop over to brush number 8. And I'm just going to add a couple little strokes like this. And this is more a thicker gold. So I think that looks really cool. That's brush number 8. And then I'm going to crawl down here and get brush number 1 and kind of, let's close that, just put some little strokes. These are just kind of some more like little nuggets, and I'm just going to throw some things like this. And just had a few different brushes, but the cool thing is that you can grab another brush, grab another sample from them. And as you notice, all of the brushes come preloaded, and so in this case I just used the preloaded colors and it turned out fine. But you can always sample from your sidebar and try different colors of gold here. And my gold tutorial has a whole thing on that. I'll show you how to do that. So this is just an idea of something you can do with your new gold brushes. This one is a little bit longer, but I kind of like the idea of using that instapressionist set to do the background, because then we kind of keep that whole visual of that, the same kind of colors on this side and the blue here. So when you want something to be aligned, I like using that instapressionist technique. And yeah, so then you can make a card. I think this would be a really cool social media background, and I can add that to my Patreon for all my subscribers. And if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll be putting some more ideas soon of like little tips, tricks, and techniques on working with the 24 karat collection. So hopefully you guys enjoy that, and let me know if you have any questions or any other kind of things that you would like to recreate, or things that you want to see demonstrated working with the new brushes.